Amazon has a lot of different tablets, and this is going to be the Amazon updated 13th generation Fire HD 10. And this is what it looks like. You'll notice there's a couple of hardware changes right off the bat, but we're also going to talk about a lot of these software changes. And we're going to explain what the difference is between the 13th generation and the 11th generation. It has a 25% faster performance than the previous 10th generation here. The newest Fire 10 weighs 434 grams, while the 11th generation weighs 465. So there is a 31 gram decrease, or 8% decrease in weight versus the previous generation. You'll notice that on the new Fire HD 10, the camera bump is protruding, but overall the color and the screen look very similar, especially where everything is located. If you want to test the camera app, that's super easy as well. We're just going to press camera here, and you can see how it shoots. We're just going to put this underneath. We're going to see if that's making any difference in terms of the overall performance. So there's a video. So we're taking a quick video. Let's put the back camera. So that's on the back camera. Now let's try the front camera on the selfie. This is a real recording actually from the Fire 10 13th generation, and in a darker setting or a darker environment, it's going to be a little bit noisy, but once you get this in front of some light and it's well lit, everything comes out nicer and very crisp. The contrast and the color is relatively accurate. When you look at the computer for each of the files and you're looking at these pictures, everything's a little bit crisper and clearer. This is a test of the front-facing camera on the Fire HD 10 13th generation. How do I look? The lighting is pretty good here, so I wonder how I look. So this is an 11th generation. We're also going to take the same test. If you're taking a look at the video that you take using your 11th generation Fire 10, you'll notice that it's going to be slightly different because in terms of the camera on the newer one is going to be slightly sharper because I think there's an improvement in the focal length or just how they use it, and it denoises a little bit better. So everything looks a tad sharper, even in the pictures, even in good lighting. I do find you can create similar situations, but here is the real big difference. So hey guys, I'm testing out the Fire HD 10 11th generation, not the newest one. This is how it looks. This is how I sound. How do I look? It's pretty well lit. If you look over at the color, it is deeper and richer on your 11th generation. So the blue is going to be darker, the G and all the blacks are going to be darker. It's crisper here, so a little bit more contrast, and everything looks a little bit cleaner, but it's not going to be the same color tone. It's just not the same color tone. So if you look at the screens, this is the new one, this is the old one. The old one is deeper. The colors are a little bit deeper, so they're richer. But I understand because what the new one, the 13th generation, is easier to see in direct sunlight. So if I'm taking this out and it's a sunny day like this, it is much easier to see because it's brighter in the back than on the 10. So on the 11th generation, it would get dimmer as everything got brighter, but on the newer one, it's just brighter. So Amazon made a choice here. They'd rather have people have more visibility in high or bright light conditions then give more color contrast or deeper dark shades. This is both on the largest font size, and then we're just going to go both into our settings. So, and you can see how much faster everything will load if I just press it. Prime Video. So just a little bit faster. This is when it's opening an app. Sure. A little bit faster. They're both connected to the same Wi-Fi too. If I pick something from the, like, just a show, so pretty fast between both of them. They've reversed the position of the power and the volume buttons on the newer one versus the previous generation. And this is going to be a very important change. There's one microphone. If you guys see right here, there's one microphone on the newest 13th generation versus two that were on the 11th generation. So you lose a microphone on the newer Fire. So you lose a microphone on the newer Fire. The USB ports are the same. They still come with the inline 3.5mm jack, and the material for the button, so actually the button material is exactly the same. It just changed the position. Let's talk what's similar between the new one and the old one. So remember, this is going to be the 13th generation. It is coming with the same octa-core 2.0 gigahertz processor as the previous generation, combined with the 3 gigabytes of RAM. But on the 13th generation, it has been tuned better, so it's going to provide 25% better performance. Now, the screen is going to be identical. They're both this 10.1-inch Full HD screen. It comes with 1920 by 1200 resolution, and it has a 224 ppi. The screen on the newest gen is going to be strengthened with aluminosilicate, so it's going to be stronger, but on the 10th generation, this was also strengthened with aluminosilicate. The 11th generation comes with Bluetooth 5.0. The 13th generation is going to come with 5.3 Bluetooth, and they both still have the headphone jack. We've shown you and talked about how they have the 2 mic array on the 11th generation and just a 1 mic array on the newest 13th generation. They both are going to be able to charge at the same exact speed. So the Fire OS 8 actually came out with the Fire 7 tablet in 2022, and the Fire OS 8 is actually based on Android 11. So instead of releasing the Fire OS 8 as a software update that you would just download into your tablet, they've actually just added it as a new operating or an upgraded operating system that is featured on their newest tablets. So the previous models do not get it. So if you go to our settings and you just go to your upgrades. So depending here, you have it on device options. On your previous models, you also had a device options. Click it. You'll notice that you have your system updates, and inside of system updates, you'll say right there. So if you look at your system updates, it'll say right there, your device is running Fire OS 8.3.2.0. And that's the build date. It came out, that is the most recent at the time of this video. If you have your previous Fire HD, it's going to operate on the Fire OS 7.3.28 at the time of this video, but there's no Fire OS 8 option. So the previous model does not have the ability to get upgraded here, even though this is a software update, which is a little bit confusing. Let me also show you what the camera differences are. So if I press camera, and inside of camera, the camera app is a little bit different. If you see this, you're like, what am I looking at? So you want to pull up this camera video, that means side swiping, and then you're going to press this little cog, hit resolution and quality. So if you look at resolution and quality, your back camera here is going to be 5 megapixels, and this is all the options you get. So 5 megapixels, 4 megapixels, you have different aspect ratios on the back camera. But if you look at the back camera here, it is identically the same. So what is different is actually if you go to the front camera first. So the front camera gives you the ability to go to 4.3 up to 5 megapixels and 4 megapixels. So they've improved the front camera up to the 5 megapixels, which is matching the rear camera. If you look at image format, you have the ability to select HEIF or JPEG. So that's something new, and that's something that comes only to the Fire OS 8 devices. If you look at the back cameras are going to be the same, except on your back camera, you have the ability to go all the way down to 480p now. And if you look at your front cameras, front camera is going to be, again, you get the ability to go to 1080p on the front camera. Before, there was no option there. So those are some of the biggest differences in terms of the cameras. So all the features implemented in Fire OS 8 are at a feature parity with Android 11. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everything in Android 11 is available in Fire OS 8. Some Android 11 features are not supported in all Fire OS 8 devices, just like we saw that in Android 10 with the Fire OS 7 devices. And remember, though, that remember that your new Pixel 8 Pros and your new Pixel devices, as well as the new Chromebooks, are going to start running on Android 13, while the Fire OS is running on Android 11 with the Fire skin on top of it. What's the most interesting thing is that if you're trying to figure out where did you see this color and where do you see this kind of setup, it's actually going to be on the Fire HD 7. So if you're looking at the Fire HD 7 here, we got it on max brightness, and you pull down the menu, you look at these menus, they're going to be identical because Amazon actually took and has been testing the Fire OS 8 on the 7, and then they pretty much made this better and tweaked it for the 10. The biggest difference is actually how your notifications and your drop-down menu is going to look. So this is what it looked like before. You had your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, airplane, blue shade, portrait, do not disturb, low power camera, storage. But now you get to customize this, and you get one more row, right? You get one more row, but you get to have dark theme. So I can put this on dark theme, while previously I only had blue shade. And blue shade would just make it less blue, but it wouldn't be a dark mode. And because it's using Android 11, it's gonna have better security tweaks over the 10. It just means it has more updated software. So regarding performance, this is gonna be something important. So as I scroll, and you have lots of different apps open, background activities are actually better on the new Fire OS 8, and that's because there's better control over what apps do in the background. So it can limit access to location data in the background or stop apps from starting itself in the background and interrupting you. And that just means you have better overall, just a better overall experience in my opinion. Notification history is also going to be different. So you have more options here. So you can hide silent notifications in status bar, allow notification snoozing, suggested actions and replies. Those are not necessarily things you get inside of the 11th generation. On the 13th generation, you are getting 13 hours. On the previous generation, you're getting 12 hours. But the one thing I've never ever complained about on my Fire 10 is battery life. So there's no difference in the audio quality between the two, except you can add audio balance here there's no audio balance on the previous model. Another cool thing is that the Fire HD10 can be used with a stylus pen. So you could use this with a stylus pen. Not a lot of great apps yet for the stylus pen. That's still a work in progress, but there is the feature here. If you already own a Fire HD10 and you're wondering, should I upgrade to the new one? No. The new one is just a marginal upgrade over the current one. So unless you're getting the Fire HD10 for under $80, I would still get the newer one just because you're getting access to the new operating system. But for most people, for the price you're paying, this is all the tablet you need. And the price that Amazon is selling and offering the Fire HD10 tells us everything we need to know. That they understand that the Fire HD10 is the perfect value, so there's no point in changing it. Just like Toyota won't change the Toyota Camry, why change something that every time you make it a little bit better, it gets more expensive and people complain, and you don't get much more benefit out of those changes. And I think that's why the 10 makes so much more sense in the long run for people. But in today's day and age, well, the current Fire HD10 is still the best deal. Still the best deal. That, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. We will get back to you. And please hit that like or subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. And I'll catch you next time. This is our review of the Fire HD10 13th generation. I'll see you soon. Bye, bye, bye.